Victory Monday on WGR. It's brought to you by Northwest Bank. What's next, get started at northwest.com. Sal Capaccio joining us, giving us his view from the sideline as the Bills beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 27-24. First road playoff win of the Sean McDermott, Josh Allen, Brandon Beane era. And they hadn't played early round road games since Houston, but they beat Jacksonville and advanced, and they'll next go to Denver to play the Broncos. We know that because of New England's win last night. We also know that game will be on Saturday. Sal, good morning. Happy Victory Monday. How was it? How was the vibe, the weather, the scene, the crowd? Road playoff games in a new place, right? Usually you're at Arrowhead. This time you're in Jacksonville, so tell us about it.
Yeah, I would say a little bit less of a Bills Mafia crowd than 2017, but that's still a big one. I mean, there was a lot of Bills fans there, a lot of them down in Jacksonville the night before the game, saw people out. So really good environment as far as, Bills fans, but the weather was perfect for the game. Perfect football weather, I would say. And yeah, I think during the game, it was intense. It was back and forth. Every play seemed to matter, no doubt, just like those other games you mentioned, the ones that they didn't win, in Kansas City. And now you can kind of take that off the shelf there, which is can't talk about not winning a road game anymore in the McDermott era. Can't talk about not winning a road playoff game anymore in the Josh Allen era. I just think that's cool. That's good that we can just squash that and not have that as a talking point anymore. The Bills did what they needed to do, and guys, I mean, they were holding everything together with duct tape yesterday and still getting everything done. I mean, we'll get to the injury report, but I mean, guys banged up all over the place, guys filling in for them, and but it was intense, no doubt.
So guys that let's do the Barnes Firm injury report, and guys that left the game or at least got injury designations or went into the tent. The Barnes Firm injury report brought to you by the Barnes Firm. For injured, for help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. All right, Sal. So Josh Allen, of course, the biggest one. Like, he was in the tent a couple times. Ultimately, I mean, he could be broken legs, and he's going to tell you he's fine. How did he come out of the game?
He seems like he came out pretty battered, but ready to go for next week, right? Yeah. I mean, he did his press conferences in the locker room, and, you guys saw him after the game doing interviews, things like that. He was – I'll give you an example. My buddy John Harris, who's the sideline reporter for the Texans, he texted me yesterday. He said, hey, I'm on the team plane headed to Pittsburgh. I saw you guys won. How did it happen? And my basic response to him was, well – Superman was down one foot, he was down one leg, he was down one hand, and even got a head check, but yet he still put the cape on and they came through to win. I mean, that's my response, right?
Yep.
I mean, and listen, it wasn't just Josh, and this was a real collective team effort. But when Josh Allen is getting beaten up the way he was, and he still completes 80% of his passes, guys, he was 28 of 35, was amazing, and has the day that he has, that's the difference of having the best player on the field and how it can matter in sports, and that's what happened yesterday.
I also thought, Sal, he was kind of dialed in a way that when he talked during the week about the self-scout, about taking what's there, the 80% completion percentage is a good indication that he was doing exactly that.
100%. Yeah, there were throws down the field. There's no doubt about that. But he lived to fight another day, right, on several plays. There was only one sack that he took. I wouldn't say he threw a ton of balls away. They didn't get they weren't pressuring him a ton.
I thought the line and the protection, I think it held up great, a lot better than I anticipated.
It did, and this was a Jags team we talked about all week that doesn't get the quarterback down a lot. But what they do is they force you into making mistakes because they come with simulated pressures. They take the ball away. They force you to think really quick because they're changing things. And all of that, I think Josh was in control of. I think the line did their job to keep him clean. And again, they don't get a lot of sacks. But then from there, what they do is, and you saw it, the great example would be the Brandon Cooks throw. You guys talk about it, but how many quarterbacks make that throw? And I would tell you, a lot of quarterbacks probably either get a sack or throw the ball to the other team in that situation. But Josh Allen found a way to get it to his team, and that's the difference between Josh and a lot of others. You're right. The offensive line did a great job. I gave him an arrow up because they protected Josh. But yeah, we can go through the rest of the injuries now that you want to do the injury report. Josh obviously got through. We know Gabe Davis left on a cart. They were consoling him with a towel over his head. Yeah. Just a tough deal for Gabe Davis there. And I would expect that to be something pretty significant. Jordan Poyer left the game with a hamstring injury.
Okay.
We were told he was questionable to return. He was on the sidelines working it out, trying to go back in, but he never went back in the game. So Look, I think having the game on Saturday hurts a little bit here because you're going to have guys banged up that you get one less day to turn around, one day before you have to fly on a long trip. That's not great. So, literally on 5 days from now, the Bills are flying out. 4 days from now, whatever you want to call it, to Denver. So that's another one. And then who else?
I've got a list. Dalton Kincaid looked like he kind of might have tweaked a knee on the touchdown, but is he okay, we think?
I didn't get anything on the knee. I don't know anything on the knee.
Okay.
We didn't have anything on Dalton Kincaid at all.
Okay.
There was nothing. I know there's some stuff floating around out there. There was a picture that appeared on social last night. I will just tell you, I did not see him in the locker room, and we did not get any official reports. What I can tell you, though, he was on the field celebrating after the game with Josh Allen. You know what I mean? So hopefully that's a good sign. So anything that happened, hopefully it's more injury management this week.
Gotcha. Here's another one. I don't know if you ever got a designation, but James Cook at one point, like a light limp for him after a play, but he never left the game, I don't believe.
Standard operating procedure for James Cook. He's such a warrior getting the ball so much, right? No, he really, sometimes you'll get that from him. He'll come off the field. He'll, have maybe something just happens on a tackle or whatever. He works out. He goes back in the game. So, yeah, nothing, no injury designation on him either.
Tyrell Shavers?
Yeah, that was surprising. Tyrell went off with a knee injury. Looked like he might have been done. And then halftime, he comes out with a helmet on. He's working out. And then they're like, yep, he's cleared. He's going back in. I'm like, okay. And he's really, really important for what they do in the run game, guys. He really is. But, a lot of times you go back in and you finish the game like Ty Johnson did last week. You see how the week goes. The adrenaline is helping you through the game, right? There's no doubt about that. And then you see how the week goes for the rest of it. So, we'll see where that goes with him.
And, you're saying, like, Shavers almost blocked a punt, too.
It went under his arm.
Yeah, and real close on that one.
Yeah.
You say the adrenaline. Did Josh talk? I mean, he never talks about his injuries like actually being a problem. Tony Romo kept making a point that like the finger injury, the finger might be a problem that he banged on the helmet of Osiris Torrance, but he looked like he delivered the ball well enough. So
yeah, he threw the ball well after that. I think that happened, and then after that was the fourth quarter. That happened in the third quarter.
Yeah,
and the injuries, Sal, are him, getting banged up, the knee getting a little bit, flexed back there in the.
That didn't look good.
That did not look good. The head injury where they're falling on him, like McDermott talked about this too, that the line was great. Like it wasn't hits from pressure. Yesterday it was hits more from him running.
That's right. I thought they had a pretty clean pocket, but McDermott made a point to say we had a good plan to protect him or something like that. We protected him well. And I think that's an emphasis, right? To make sure you're building a game plan to protect the quarterback. And that's on Joe Brady to make sure that you keep tight ends in or running backs in. And not having Ty Johnson was a big deal in this game, guys. I mean, third down, he's a really key part of what the Bills do. But the Bills were excellent on third down. They stayed on schedule because of a lot of what you're talking about right now. They didn't have a ton of third and longs. I have to go back and look. But they were 7 for 14 on third down, 50%. That's a good number. But they were third and manageable. That's why. When the Bills are bad on third down, it's not usually because they're bad on third down. It's because they're bad on first or second down. And they're not getting to third down to be manageable. And yesterday they were able to stay like that.
Sal Capaccio joining us, looking back on Bills and Jags. Sal, of course, like Superman did the thing. If we're looking past Josh for the star of the game, you have a number of players that made big plays, but Tre'Davious White, a big story in this game. He has had a very strong second half of the season, especially. And I'd said to Joe, like, this kind of performance from him is not all that shocking because he has been very good. He was a huge part. Had 3 pass breakups and was awesome for this Bills defense.
I mean, it's the kind of performance that people say, oh, my God, he make sure you re-sign him next year, right? And you really need him. Now, that's down the road. But I think it's amazing that this guy comes in. And how many people back in May said, oh, my God, I can't believe they're re-signing Tre'Davious White. Will he even make the team? What a wasted signing. Why is this team so sentimental? All those things that you hear when they bring people back. Well, guess what? The Bills and Tre'Davious White are proving right now why they signed him and how important he is and can be to this defense. There's something to be said for understanding your role, understanding the defense, understanding the system, knowing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and then keep taking care of your body and getting back to a point where you feel good enough to be aggressive and the kind of player that you were. And that's Tre'Davious White right now. I think he is playing not only his best football, his most aggressive football I've seen him play in a long time, guys. He is attacking the football and making plays on it. He's never been an interception merchant. You know what I mean? That's not his game. He's had a few over the years. But he made, I mean, those 3 pass breakups were monstrous. The one on Brenton Strange near the Bills sideline, and then the next play, he breaks up a touchdown. It's going to be a touchdown to the tight end, right? He goes, and he knocks the ball away. And then the last play, obviously, where he gets his hands in man-to-man coverage. And, he described all 3 after the game. He said the first 2, he's in zone, and he reads. And he says, okay, I got to get here. He gets there. So the last one, he's in man-to-man. He says he's in man-to-man. He just jumps it and says, I'm getting my hand in here. And I just think that speaks volumes to how well he's playing to be able to do that in both situations.
I wondered if he was in man on that last play, Sal, because those are some of the plays that he was getting burned on earlier in the season. And he's man-to-man there on Jacoby Myers, who everyone, including the Bills coach, had been hyping up all week. And he was right there.
Yeah, that was man-to-man. And Cole Bishop was right in the right spot so many times just to tick off, a couple of the other plays that happened. But then he was right there on the spot to grab that interception. So I think Tre'Davious White was excellent in this game. I mean, Khalil Shakir, 12 catches on 12 targets. What a great day that is. Now, I know a ton of it wasn't down the field. There's the tunnel screens, but how much that's setting up for things. You get the Kincaid touchdown on the fake tunnel screen. And then I know that the run defense wasn't great, but I think overall the defensive performance was really good because the Jags never really could be a balanced offense. They got in situations where they started to run the ball, but when the Bills forced them into some second and third and longs, I thought Greg Rousseau actually was very good to get some pressure. The Bills only had 1 sack. He had it. The Bills only had 3 quarterback hits. He had 2 of them.
Yeah. What about Cooks? Brandon Cooks also, Sal? I mean, that's the recipient on the insane throw by Allen at the end. We talked about the drop earlier that I didn't think was going to get overturned, and it did.
I didn't think it was a drop.
Right, like otherwise, like drops has been his thing, when he first got here. But he's getting open down the field like no other receiver was before he really got here.
No doubt about it. I mean, they've missed this in their offense, but yeah, you got to make those plays. It was close. We saw on the video we saw. I'm sure you saw the replay though. Yeah. I mean, the nose of the ball did hit the ground. You're saying he had possession of it, you thought, when that happened?
My opinion on this is that sometimes there are sloppy catches that are catches, but these officials, whatever. Like they don't like it if the ball moves a micromillimeter while you're controlling it. The nature of controlling a football, when you move it from one hand to the other, do you lose control of the ball? Like I just think there's a little bit of a over-exaggerated focus on the ball touching the ground. Like I thought he had complete control of it. It wasn't in his hands. He might have had it by your legs, but you can still control the ball. So whatever.
You can. Anyway. You can. It was tough. When it happened, we all agreed that this is going to be very close. They could overturn this because the ball hit the ground. It did. But listen, for him to understand, we asked him about it in the locker room, that play, and he described it and knew that where he was supposed to go and said, it's unbelievable, Josh, what he's able to do and be able to get that ball off. That's just being on the same page as your quarterback. That's what it is. And for these guys to be on the same page like that and a play like that this early in his Bills career, only being here for a few weeks, I think, speaks volumes to everything Sean McDermott has said about him, which is he's a complete professional. He really works hard. He wants to be on the same page as Josh. He understands how all this works, which is great. And by the way, I think Sean McDermott had a really good game yesterday, guys.
Absolutely.
You go from if you want to talk about defensively, they did a great job. What did I talk about all week last week about spinning coverages too, by the way, after the play clock, right? You remember that? Mm-hmm. We said when the play clock, because Liam Cohen talks to Trevor Lawrence. Well, guess what? After the game, Liam Cohen talked about the Bills doing that. He talked about how they were able to change the picture a few times. That's Sean McDermott and Bobby Babich doing a great job there. And I thought he managed the game well, which we can talk about the kneel down. But yep. I think the challenge on the 4th down was huge. Huge. I mean, we didn't even know when he challenged it. We're like, wait, what? Why is he challenging? Did Trevor Lawrence did he just not get there? And we didn't realize Shaq Thompson touched him with his shin on the ground, and McDermott knew that. The guys upstairs knew that, and that's why he challenged. It was a big play.
Yeah. So the kneel down, he did. Yep. He was asked about this. The non-kneel, they didn't kneel at the one. He was asked about this in postgame. Did you talk about it? Did you think about taking one knee because Jacksonville's down their timeouts? You could have killed some clock and then tried to go in. What was the answer, and what do you think about that?
I don't remember what he said on that. Do you remember what he said on that specifically? I can give you my thought, but you go ahead.
He just said that he kind of gave a bunch of reasons like why you would do that, and that like the kicker and whatnot. And he said they discussed it, but that they didn't want to be too cute. Okay. I think he used the phrase, "Do you want to be too cute?"
Okay, well, here's my and I heard you say, Joe, like, does anyone not think it? Yeah, I think a lot of people don't think you shouldn't do that, including me and Chris Brown, I think, who we debated on the radio. This is not revisionist, by the way. I want to tell everybody this is a good debate, so much so that we talked about it on the radio and Eric brought it up. All right, so Eric Wood, who played in this league, said, hey, do you think about taking a knee here? Okay, so I totally respect that argument. Here's why I think it's you don't do that. Number one, if you take a knee, you're moving the ball backward. So now suddenly you're at the 1, you're at the 2 now.
See, I don't
really have to do
that. Okay, that's fine. That's
Jags,
independent of that.
The Jags back up. The Jags back up because they want you to score.
No, they did on first down. If you go to second down, do the Jags or do they say, okay, let's play defense now?
Yes.
Because because now I think the Jags say, play defense. What if you slip? Did you not watch the AFC Championship game last year? What if you don't get in on the second down? What if you have a penalty, Joe?
But then I have 2 more tries.
Well, hold on.
From the 5.
If we're going to do this debate, like, all of the what ifs that you are including are just. The other what ifs are, what if Trevor Lawrence drives down the field in a minute and scores a touchdown?
Correct.
And those what ifs also exist if you are sneaking it. Like, it doesn't change by what Allen's doing.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll go with the ultimate what if. You're just assuming they score. I just don't think you can do that.
Right.
You have to score. You have to score when you do it.
The Jaguars, though, are also assuming they score.
Right, because that's why they want
There are a million things. This is not like a field goal situation. If something goes wrong, the reason why people put it down. Hold on. The reason why people do this when they kneel at the end of a game, if something goes wrong, your Stu can kick the field goal. It doesn't matter. You could be 5 yards back, 10 yards back, whatever. And in this situation, if something goes wrong, it could now be 3rd and goal from the 4, right? I mean, like, I just think you can't chance that.
But what goes wrong on a kneel that's different than a sneak that they did? Like, that's what I'm asking. Like, because to me, what Allen's action doesn't affect risk on a penalty.
Okay, here's what I'm saying. Take a knee, and the next play something go wrong. I'm saying on the tush push.
Right, and then
anything could go wrong on a play. We saw it in L.A. last year.
But then I have 2 more tries at it because the odds, the Jags.
And now they're going to try and stop you.
Right, but I have 3 attempts at a tush push. That's like a 98% play. I mean, the odds of them.
And it was 98% in L.A. and they didn't get it last year.
But did they have 3 opportunities?
I don't remember, Joe. I just think here's my thing. You have to score a touchdown. I just think I can imagine. You guys can say, and you're right. You're right about this. If the Bills kneel, if the Bills score, and the Jags go down, people are totally going crazy today. I'll also flip it around and say, if they kneeled and something went wrong, the same thing is happening today, and people are going crazy.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, right. The results of the game are going to paint the story. I'm looking at in LA. What was that? The end of the half last year?
No, that's the end of the game. They go for it, but they go for it without timeouts. Like, to me, that is a situation where I have to get it on that one try because otherwise the clock is my enemy. In this one, if I don't get it on second down, I have third down. If I don't get it on third down, I have fourth down.
What happened
to sneak it?
Yeah, and what happened in LA is of course very different because when they're doing that, they're down 10 points.
Yeah.
They're down 9 points. So
I know. My point is this. They just didn't get the tush push. They didn't get it in the championship game either. I'm saying you're assuming they're just going to score.
But in those situations,
I don't think you can do that.
Only have 1 try. In this, you would have 3 if you don't get a penalty, which is the same risk if you sneak it or kneel it.
But again, they did get in LA. They got into the end zone
on the next one.
Yeah, they got in the second try.
Right, the clock was the problem there.
Yes, that's right. In this case, the clock's not working against you. You're hoping to weaponize your ability to bleed clock. Listen, I wasn't that upset about it. I probably would have had this is something, put it this way, Sal. Here's a good conversation. Like, does the fact that McDermott, they said they talked about it, like they're talking about a lot of this stuff. Maybe they have a meeting this week and they say, should we put in a 0-yard kneel? Like, is that something we want to consider if there's a certain scenario? If you're in a game where, like with Lawrence, you might have had total belief, like, we're going to stop this guy. He's not going to go down and score a touchdown on us. If you're in that LA game like last year, like nobody stopped anybody. It's 44-42. You might really want to say, let's make sure there's no time left for that other team because we don't have answers for them. In this game, I feel like they had answers for Lawrence.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that they were confident their defense could hold them from not going down the field, right? They're making them one-dimensional in that situation.
But he did.
So, yes.
But he did.
But I don't think it's nuts to think either way. I think it's a fair debate either way. And it went on on the radio. And you could ask Chris about it. I think Chris agreed in the moment what I'm telling you. But just when Brandon Cooks caught the ball, here's another one. When he catches the ball, I said, oh man, if he catches the ball and looks up, maybe he scores. And Eric goes, well, maybe it's better he didn't score, right? I mean, I think all of this is on the table.
Can I ask you, how much, this kind of gets to the opponent and what the Bills have been doing. Would your opinion changed if that same situation happened against a Chiefs team with Mahomes on the other side? Or would you say?
No, my opinion is if you're down 4 points and there's a minute left in the game and you're that close, you score because you have to get a touchdown. You can't risk anything to a botched snap, a fumble, a penalty. Okay. You have a chance to score, you score. Now, a field goal is different because if something bad happens, you can totally now, of course, a fumble, obviously, but you get a penalty, you go backward, right? I do think that's different. You got to get in the end zone. I think that's just a tougher deal.
Sal Capaccio. The Niners scored, by the way, I'm looking to when did they score in the fourth quarter to take the lead? Because I'm pretty sure that yesterday, or the whole wild card weekend, the first 4 games, other than the Patriots and the Chargers, that the team that was winning with 3 minutes left lost in every game. Yeah.
I also read yesterday it's the first time the Bills have – I'm sorry, Jeremy.
The Niners scored with 2:54 left, which actually extended that window because the first 3 games of Wild Card Weekend, the team leading with 2 minutes left lost.
I read that it's the first time in Buffalo Bills playoff history they've ever won a playoff game trailing in the last 2 minutes.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
There wasn't even one in the 90s or. Well,
and I'm thinking back, and no, I can't. They were not trailing against Houston. They were tied, right?
Ronnie Harmon would have been that, right? Correct.
Yeah, 89. That's right. That would have happened. Anyway, that's what I read. I mean, I don't know if it's totally right, but yeah. So now Denver, obviously on Saturday. So it's a quick turnaround, guys, and they're going to have a lot of guys to manage on. I tweeted out last night that so first, let's just say tomorrow will be the first injury report of the week because it's a shorter week. So you'll get it on Tuesday. And honestly, they might need 2 graphs on that Bills PR page for all the names and the body parts they have to list.
Right. Do you know, Sal, why we don't have the times yet? Is that a network reason?
Yeah, the networks are fighting over who gets what. I think CBS is going to want Josh Allen, right? That's what they're going to want. Nance and Rome are going to want Josh Allen. So they're fighting over who gets games and what times.
Yep.
And who wins tonight will matter to that, too.
Right.
That's exactly right.
The Bills-Broncos, Denver's a giant market. Allen's the biggest star. Yeah. All right, Sal, thank you. You're up 10 o'clock. Extra Point Show?
We'll talk to you then, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right, Sal Capaccio joining us on the Wester Hotline. I did not know they talked about it on the broadcast. Makes sense. In that moment, I think a lot of people thought, what do you do here? Quick. And, they went in and they scored.